Okay, so I remember back when I was in like high school or whatever, I learned about this event that happened in one of the world wars. I don't remember which one it was. It's moment, but basically, what happened was there was this Christmas truce that happened like on the front lines or whatever of um, this world war, and I just feel like this Christmas truce is a key example of just how insane humans are and our core issues, right? Because pretty much what happened was is that because I looked this up, basically the story is that the Germans were singing Christmas carols on their side, and so the Americans or whoever, or the English or whoever was on the Allied side was like, like, hey, do you want a truce or whatever? And so like the next day, they they met up and exchanged gifts, like in no man's land or whatever, which is basically just the area between the two lines of trenches, um, and and so they exchanged gifts with each other, and had a little chat, and apparently like they played like a game of soccer or something, or like some people were playing like soccer or whatever. And I just feel like this is just such a key example of the absurdity of the whole conflict that we have, because these are people that, I mean, I don't think they were really like fighting each other heavily. They were just kind of sitting on each other on the trenches, and it was early into the war, so there wasn't as much hate between each side. But that just goes to show just why this is so absurd. Because, um, uh, this is like, there are a lot of people that go to war and don't necessarily want to kill people, right? But they are told that they have to, and they are told that this is what's right, and they're fighting for the good of their people, right? And so they're kind of put into this scenario where one side's good, one side's bad, and obviously whatever side you're on is the good side, right? And so, people, instead of trying to talk things out and come to agreements and stuff. Instead, what we do is we fight and kill each other. And so I don't know what made me think of this, but I remembered learning it in school, and I just looked it up. Uh, I looked it back up to make sure, and yeah, it's true. When I was in high school, I didn't think much of it, but now I realize just how insane it is that they had a truce in fighting and then went back to killing each other afterwards, even if it was a small part and not the whole like front line. It's not like this happened everywhere, right? But the fact that this happened anywhere is quite absurd. And apparently, when I was reading, like the officers were not very happy about the whole situation because they were worried it was going to ruin, people's fighting spirit, right? And so that's what's just so absurd about this, right? Because they had a quick truce to exchange gifts and have a talk and stuff, and then they went right back to being enemies and killing each other. Like, what? Like, that's so, like, if you could agree to stop killing each other for a little bit, like, why are we even doing this, right? Like, I just thought it was so, like, that story is just so absurd, because this is not the only place where, like, this kind of absurd behavior takes place, but it is one of these places, like, it is a great example of this, right? And the officers are worried, oh no, they're not going to want to kill each other now. Like, what? What? It's just so crazy to me. Like, what this world, like how this world functions. Why is everything got to be so violent? Why do we have to kill and conquer to get what we need? Um, you know, it's so ridiculous. It's just so absurd. But I just thought that was like something. That's just something that I thought about, and I wanted to bring it up because it's just actually insane, um, that that even happened. And I just like I don't think that that's really a unique scenario. That I feel like that happens, um, you know, pretty often. And so another thing that I'll tie in here is that so you're still gonna die with nothing anyway. So I was watching a YouTube video where the guy said this, and it's the truth. There are two ways to look at it. If you have a lot, you can't take any with you, right? And if you are struggling to get by, then what's the point of struggling with something you hate? Why not struggle to get by at something you love, right? So if you're barely getting by, but you're doing a job that you hate, what's the point of that? Why not struggle to get by and do something that you love, right? Because, at the end of the day, how much stuff do you need, really? I mean, the answer is that you don't really need a lot of stuff, and you can't take any of it with you. So if you're trying to, obviously things are tough. Not everyone's trying to get $1 million to buy fancy clothes and stuff, but some people are just trying to make enough money to eat, and I understand that. But if you are busting your butt trying to make like tons of money so that you can buy the fancy cars and clothes and things like that, then you're doing that so you can get things that you like, right? Why not do something that you like just all the time? Like, why do you have to torture yourself to get things you like? Why not just do the things that you like all the time and then not worry about these other unnecessary items, right? Because if you're trying to do those things to make you happy, why not just do what makes you happy, and then you don't need those things, right? Because you already got happiness. You don't need to, find it elsewhere. You've already, found it. So you don't need to have all these material things to make you feel happy. You're just doing what already does make you feel happy, right? So I guess what I'm saying is, why not do that? And the first thing and this thing don't necessarily tie well together, but I think what I could say to try and piece them together a little bit, I was just kind of doing two short ones together, is, I had something lined up and now I forget what I was going to say. You make you make your life what it is, and if you see everything as a struggle and opposition, then that's what it's going to be, right? You could also see things as opportunities for connection and growth and improvement, and then that's what they'll be, right? So I think it's really all a matter of perspective, and we've been trained to see the world a certain way, and I don't think that the way that we've been taught is correct. I think that it is the most. I think that the way we've been taught to see the world is the easiest to take advantage of, and when you're constantly never satisfied with what you have and you always want more, you are very good for business, right? But if you're happy with what you have and you buy very little and you need very little and you don't really care about what other people have and stuff like that, you're not very good for business, because you don't really buy stuff. And if you're not buying stuff, then you're not contributing to the economy, and the economy's always got to be growing. So you've always got to be buying, and you've got to be working, because we need everyone to work so that we can make more money, so that you can spend more money. And so if you're not really working, but you're also not really buying anything, then you're a problem. You need to be a part of the system. If you're outside the system, then you're wasted resources. Like, you got to be a part of the system. We get pushed into these certain mindsets, and we get told that this is the right thing to do and this is how things should be. And a lot of people just are going along with what they've been told and the orders that they're given. And, they think that they're doing the right thing. And they think that they're on the right path, and they think that they are doing what they need to do. And the reality is that the people that have, told you the direction you need to go, they don't really know what they're talking about. And they don't care. And I think that we need to kind of correct and take a step back and, reassess what it is that we're doing here and why is it that we're doing it and what is it really going to do for us in the long run. Where are we going to be in 20, 30, 40 years, right? Because on this trajectory, I think we'll be lucky if the human race lasts another 100 years, which is actually ridiculous to think that we've only, with our current conditions, 100 years looks like the max. That's just so ridiculous. And yet I really think that things are looking bad for us. And the only way we survive with current trajectories is if we escape the planet. But I don't know if that's really in the cards yet for us. I don't know if we have the technology to do that. I don't know if we'll get the chance to get the technology to do that, because we're just fast tracking ourselves to annihilation. And, the planet will be fine and it'll recover eventually, and, life will find a way. But we will not. We will be dead because we're just dumb. And we have repeatedly failed to learn from our mistakes. And there's only so many times you can fail a test before you realize that it's just not going to happen, right? So, no harm, no foul in the long run, but it's just a shame. So how about we don't do that, right? So yeah, I think that's enough for that one. Peace out.